Hello everyone, welcome to Kitch More. We are now in quarter 3, week 3 of English 7 in Matatag Curriculum. And in today's lesson, we'll go over with the topics on understanding comparison and contrast text structure, analyzing use of visual elements in informative text, and summarizing significant information in a comparison contrast essay. Have you ever tried to decide between two things like which snack to buy or which show to watch? What helped you make your decision? Well, it's not really easy to decide, right? But will you please try the following? Between a cat and a dog, which would you choose as a pet? Why? You know what? Just like making decisions, we often compare and contrast to understand things better. Today, we'll learn how to use this skill effectively in reading and writing, particularly expository or informational texts. First, let's get to know what is comparison and contrast. Comparison and contrast are being differentiated as are shown on the slide. Try to look at how they differ from each other. First, comparison shows how two or more things are alike or similar. And then contrast, it shows how two or more things are different. For example, as you can see on the slide, there are two columns that are being shown. First is the column for comparison, and the second is the column for contrast. Let's have the examples for comparison. First, both cats and dogs are pet. Next, both cats and dogs can be trained. Both cats and dogs can be playful. Both cats and dogs provide companionship. As you can see, it presents how cats and dogs are similar, right? Now let us have the column for contrast. Here are the examples. Cats are independent while dogs are social. Cats are more low maintenance than dogs. Dogs need more exercise than cats. Cats are quieter than dogs. So here it also presents the differences between cats and dogs. So these are just the simple examples for comparison and contrast. As what we have previously learned, we use appropriate signal words to show comparison and contrast. And here are just a few of them. For comparison, we use the following words: similarly, both, likewise, and also. Then for contrast, we use the following words: however, on the other hand, but, and although. So these are just few of the many words that we can use to show comparison and contrast. And the next time that you write your own comparison and contrast essay, you can use them. This time, let us proceed to the methods of writing comparison and contrast compositions. So what are these methods that we can use? The first method is the block method or section by section, and the point by point method. Let's discuss them one by one on the next slides. First, let's have the block method or section by section. The block method describes similarities first of one point of a topic with a point of the other topic. This method is like talking about one topic first and then talking about the second topic right after before you compare them. How does it work? First, describe the first topic fully, all its points or ideas. Second, describe the second topic fully, all its points or ideas. Then after that, you can compare the two, showing their similarities and differences. And here are the advantages and disadvantages that you must know. Advantages: keeps each set of points for discussion close together. The reader does not have to remember as much information. Keeps the paper clearly organized. Avoids summary. So, take note that the block method keeps the points about each topic close together so the reader doesn't get confused. That's the advantage. Another advantage: the reader doesn't have to remember as much at once because each topic is explained separately. and it makes your writing clear and organized. You also avoid repeating information or having to summarize everything at the end. So that's what's good about block method. But here are the disadvantages of the block method. The reader does not immediately see the similarities and differences of the subjects or topics being explained. The reader might not be able to see the similarities and differences right away because the two topics are explained one after the other. It might take a little longer for the reader to notice how the topics are actually connected. So that is for the block method or section by section. Now here is an example of block method. Cats and dogs share many qualities that make them beloved pets. Both are common household companions that provide emotional support and joy to their owners. They can be playful and affectionate, forming strong bonds with their human families. Additionally, both cats and dogs can be trained to follow basic commands or perform certain tasks, making them engaging and interactive pets. However, cats and dogs differ significantly in their behavior and care requirements. Cats are generally independent, capable of entertaining themselves, and require minimal supervision. They are low maintenance when it comes to exercise as they can stay active indoors. In contrast, dogs are highly social animals that thrive on interaction with their owners, requiring daily walks and outdoor activities for their well-being. Dogs also tend to be more vocal and expressive than cats, making them ideal for those who prefer a lively and energetic companion. So, if you try to analyze this paragraph, we can say that this paragraph uses the block method by organizing the discussion into two distinct sections. First, addressing the similarities between cats and dogs, then moving on to their differences. Each set of points, which are the similarities and differences, is grouped together, making it easier for readers to follow the discussion about one aspect at a time. However, the method's limitation is evident as the reader must process each section separately, which delays direct comparison until the contrasting section is reached. This structure ensures clarity but does not allow for immediate side-by-side comparison. Now let's have the second method, which is point-by-point method. Point-by-point method is a presentation of all facts and supporting details about one topic, followed by the facts and supporting details about the second topic. In this method, instead of talking about one topic fully first and then the other, you compare and contrast the two topics side by side, point by point. And how does it work? You start with one point that is common to both topics, for example, the color. Then you explain how each topic compares or differs on that point. Then, lastly, you repeat this for each point one by one until all the points are covered. Now let's take up the advantages. Point-by-point method presents the whole picture of the two sides, can be more effective if the essay is below 3 to 4 pages and is covering a general issue. It does not appear as monotonous. Point-by-point method helps the reader see the whole picture of the two topics at once. It's more interesting because you're always switching back and forth between the two topics. It doesn't feel boring or repetitive. This method works well if the essay is short, for about 3 to 4 pages, and you're covering a general topic. But what about the disadvantages? Let's take them up. In point-by-point method, the reader must remember a lot since the comparison and contrast are done side by side. The paper is not always as clearly organized, difficult for papers over 3 to 4 pages. So, the reader might have to remember a lot of details because the comparison is happening right next to each other, so you need to pay close attention. The paper might not feel as organized because the points are mixed together for both topics. And for longer papers, more than 3 to 4 pages, this method can get tricky and hard to manage. To understand better, let's take up the example of point by point, and here it is. When it comes to household pets, cats and dogs share some key similarities. Both are beloved companions that offer emotional support and joy to their owners. They can also be playful and affectionate, forming strong bonds with their families. Additionally, both cats and dogs are trainable, capable of learning basic commands or tasks. However, there are distinct differences between the two. For example, while cats are typically independent and require minimal supervision, dogs are highly social and crave interaction with their owners. Cats tend to be low maintenance and can entertain themselves indoors, while dogs need daily walks and outdoor activities to stay healthy. Furthermore, cats are often quieter and more reserved, whereas dogs are generally more vocal and expressive, making them more suited for those who enjoy a lively, energetic companion. Now, looking at it as we understand it, we can say that this paragraph uses the point-by-point method by presenting both similarities and differences side by side, topic by topic. Each point is discussed for both cats and dogs in parallel. For example, the comparison starts with a similarity in their role as beloved pets and then moves on to the differences in their independence. This approach allows the reader to see both the similarities and differences in the same section, giving a clearer comparison. However, the main disadvantage is that the reader must process a lot of information at once, as the comparison is broken into smaller parts. This could be challenging for longer paper, as the reader may need to keep track of more details across multiple topics. So I hope you understand about the two methods of comparison and contrast in composition. Now that we have learned about comparison and contrast, we are now going to move on to understanding visual elements. What are visuals? Visuals refer to any type of image, graphic, or other visual representation that is used to convey information, support a message, or enhance understanding. In other words, visuals are images, pictures, or graphics. They help share information, they support a message or idea, and visuals make things easier to understand. They can also make a topic more interesting. And they come in different formats. So what are they? First, we have images. Images, which are, for example, photographs, illustrations, or drawings. We also have charts and graphs like bar charts, line graphs, pie charts, and histograms used to represent data or statistics. We also have, for visuals, diagrams like flow charts, organizational charts, and Venn diagrams that illustrate processes, structures, or relationships. Also, we have visuals like maps, visual representations of geographic locations or data on a geographic scale. There is also what we call infographics, a combination of text, images, charts, and data in a single graphic designed to communicate complex information in an easy-to-understand way. And lastly, we have videos, moving visuals that may include text, graphics, or images to convey a message or tell a story, just as with this one. Now, why are visuals important? So, here are the reasons why we say visuals are important. First, visuals clarify and emphasize ideas. Visuals provide clarity by presenting information in a format that's easier to understand. For example, a chart or graph can quickly show trends or relationships that would take paragraphs of text to explain. Then we have visuals make information easier to understand. Humans process visual information faster than text. Visual elements like graphs, charts, and diagrams can help the audience grasp concepts more quickly. In comparison and contrast exercises, visuals can highlight key differences and similarities in a way that complements textual analysis. Okay, how are we going to analyze visual elements? We have steps to follow. Step 1. Identify the type of visual. Start by recognizing the visual format, whether it's a chart, diagram, map, photo, or infographic. This helps you understand what type of information the visual is conveying. For example, if it's a pie chart, it's likely showing proportions or percentages. Step 2. Look for labels, captions, or headings. Labels and captions give text to the visual elements. They provide information about what the visuals represents, helping the viewer make connections with the main topic. For instance, if analyzing a graph comparing cats and dogs, a label could indicate percentage of people who prefer cats versus dogs, giving clarity to the data. And the last step, which is step 3, is connect the visual to the main text. Ensure that the visual element is directly tied to the content being discussed. In the case of a comparison between cats and dogs, the visual should support the specific points being made in the text. If the text highlights how cats are independent while dogs are social, the visual, like a bar graph, should show how each pet's behavior correlates with the preferences of their owners. Now let's move on to the last part of our lesson, which is summarizing information. What is summarizing information? Summarizing information is an essential skill for distilling key points from longer text, especially when comparing and contrasting topics. The goal is to capture the main ideas while omitting unnecessary details. This helps create a concise version of the original content, making it easier to understand and remember. Summarizing information is a very important skill. It helps you focus on the main ideas without getting distracted by extra details. When comparing and contrasting two topics, summarizing allows you to capture the most important points and leave out less important facts. This makes the information shorter and simpler, so it's easier to understand. By summarizing, you create a clear and concise version of the original text, which can help you remember the key ideas more easily. It's a great way to organize and communicate information without overwhelming others with too much detail. Here are the steps that we have to follow when we are summarizing information. First, read the text carefully. Before you can summarize, it's crucial to read the text thoroughly to understand the full scope of the information. Whether it's a comparison of two topics such as online learning versus classroom learning or any other subject, understanding the material will allow you to pick out the most important details. This helps ensure that nothing crucial is missed in the summary. The next step is to highlight key points or the similarities and differences. Once you've read the text, it's time to identify the most significant aspects. Highlighting helps you focus on the essential points that should be included in the summary. If you're comparing two topics like online learning versus classroom learning, you'll want to highlight both the similarities, such as both methods aim to educate, and the differences, such as one takes place in a physical classroom while the other is conducted online. This allows you to distill the core ideas that define each subject, making the comparison clear. And the last step to summarize information is to write a brief summary in your own words. After identifying the key points, the next step is to write the summary. This involves rephrasing the highlighted points in your own words while maintaining the core message of the original text. The summary should be brief but comprehensive, capturing the essential similarities and differences between the subjects. Avoid copying the text verbatim. Instead, aim to present the information in a concise and clear manner. Now let's take up this example of summarizing a comparison of online learning versus classroom learning. Here is the original text version. Online learning offers flexibility and convenience, allowing students to learn at their own pace and from anywhere. It relies heavily on digital tools and platforms for course delivery. Classroom learning, on the other hand, provides face-to-face interaction, which can enhance communication and foster a more collaborative learning environment. While online learning may be more convenient, classroom learning allows for immediate feedback and social engagement. Both methods aim to educate, but they offer distinct advantages based on learning styles and preferences. So, when you summarize a comparison, you take the main ideas from both sides and express them in a shorter, simple way. Let's break down the comparison between online and classroom learning. So, in the original comparison, we find there that online learning offers flexibility and convenience, allowing students to learn at their own pace and from anywhere. It relies on digital tools and platforms of course delivery. For classroom learning, it provides face-to-face interaction, enhancing communication and creating a collaborative learning environment. It allows immediate feedback and social engagement. So we are now going to take the main ideas from what we have broken down from the text. And here are the main ideas. First, we have for online learning, we see flexible, convenient, learn from anywhere, uses digital tools. For classroom learning, face-to-face interaction, immediate feedback, and collaborative environment. If we come up with a summarized version, it will be like this. Online learning is flexible and lets students learn at their own pace from anywhere, using digital tools. Classroom learning offers face-to-face interaction, immediate feedback, and more social, collaborative environment. Both methods aim to teach but have different benefits based on how students prefer to learn. So here is the explanation to that for you to better understand. Online learning, in the summary, we focus on the flexibility of online learning, meaning learn anywhere at your own pace, and how it uses digital tools for teaching. In the classroom learning, we did this. We highlight the face-to-face interaction and immediate feedback that classroom learning provides. And for the overall comparison, the last part of the summary explains that while both methods aim to educate, each has different advantages depending on the learning style of the student. So to summarize everything, today we learned what comparison and contrast mean, how to analyze visual elements in text, and the steps to summarize a comparison-contrast essay. And so I have a question for you and I hope to read your answers on the comment section. What is one thing you learned today? I hope that you learned something, and with that, I say great job everyone! You've now learned about the lesson on comparing and contrasting. You'll learn about how to analyze visual elements and of course to summarize a text. And these skills will help you understand more deeply and think critically about reading, writing, and so you just have to keep practicing and you'll continue to improve as a reader and a writer. So, if you enjoyed this lesson, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more great content. Till our next lesson, bye!